What is chronic anxiety? Hello, friend. My name is Zach, and I'm an anxiety management coach. There's two types of anxiety. One is chronic anxiety. The other one is acute anxiety. Acute anxiety is when there is a big problem that happens and we get anxious. For example, if you get in a car wreck, you should be anxious about that in that moment. Right before that accident happens, heart beats, mind's spinning, body's tight. That is acute anxiety. You are in harm's way. Chronic anxiety is a little different. Chronic anxiety is like a slow drip of that acute anxiety physiologically, so physically happening in our body. But there actually isn't anything danger going on. Here's an example from my own life. As a kid, I was petrified of bears. Thank you, Dad, for scarring me when I was a kid. You see, when we were little, we had this backpacking trip. It was a lot of fun. Well, mostly fun. My dad thought it would be hilarious to pretend to be a bear outside of my tent when I was in there alone with my brother. So he started growling and hitting the tent. I was so scared, I got out my little pocket knife to defend my life and my brother's life. I was willing to sacrifice him from this bear. I mean, it was a scarring moment, even though I'm laughing about it. Even as an adult, I was scared of bears. So when I'm sleeping in a tent until several years ago, any noise, chronic anxiety would just rise up in me. There is a bear and it's coming to eat me, even though that really wasn't happening. See, we can have this happen in our life with different dangers. Our body might signal we're in danger if someone doesn't like us, if they aren't impressed with us. Or maybe we don't know the answer. Or we're that kid or adult trying to be perfect, straight A's, or any sign of a mess up is an anxiety trigger. In fact, earlier today I messed up on the phone. Anxiety went off. Danger, danger, danger. Even though I'm allowed to be a human, and so are you, which humans aren't perfect. That's not what anxiety tells us. Anxiety tells us if we mess up, or that if someone doesn't like us. Chronic anxiety signals that we are in danger. All right, the next thing you need to know about chronic anxiety. Chronic anxiety is different from acute anxiety in that you can catch it like a cold. So if I am in a chronic anxiety state, and we're in person, we're in this room, you can get anxious watching. In fact, you don't even need to be in the room. Have you ever watched a television show or a movie and you see a character get anxious and all of a sudden you start to feel uncomfortable? For me, there's this movie, Meet the Fockers, where it's a comedy, right? But this main character, Greg, bad things just keep happening to him.
Dad, Greg grew up in Detroit.
He told me he grew up on a farm.
Do they have many farms in Detroit?
No, Dina. No, not a lot. In fact, Jack, I should clarify this. I didn't actually grow up in a farm per se. In the house.
I hate that movie. I get anxious watching it. It's not funny to me at a certain point, right? Can you think of a movie or a show where the same thing happens? You start to feel, you identify to this point. That is because that's chronic anxiety. Every sitcom has it. All the drama in it is usually chronic anxiety, all right? So we can catch it like a cold. Acute anxiety, right? We don't catch like a cold. It's something actually happening to someone else doesn't make us anxious in that moment. You know, if they retell it to us, we can get anxious about it. But at that point, it's a chronic anxiety situation. It's not acute anymore, right? Because the danger has passed. The next thing to know about chronic anxiety, and this is what makes it such a tricky beast, is chronic anxiety, the first thing it does when someone starts to get anxious is make you blind to itself. So you are unaware that you're anxious until you go way down this path. Has this happened to you where you get in a circle argument with someone where you're reactive and they're reactive? And you're just around and around. I know it's never happened to you, only me. No, it happens to us all because anxiety blinds you to itself. But here's the thing. Chronic anxiety can be managed. Acute anxiety, you don't want to manage that. There's actual danger, right? If a bear is really attacking you, please don't try to manage it. Attack and fend off the bear or run away from the bear. But chronic anxiety can be managed. The first step is to recognize that we're anxious. And like I said, this is difficult because it blinds you to itself. So if you want tips on how to notice you're anxious so that you can manage it, watch this video right here. I know it'll really help you. Have a great day and God bless you in your journey.